How weird would it be if all the TV shows and films consumed on Earth were created by and centered on aliens from a completely different planet with vastly differing experiences and absolutely no relation to any humans on Earth whatsoever? That'd be pretty jarring. I think the relatability and humanity of media is what makes it so engaging. Even media formed with seemingly no ties to realism contain a relatable, humanizing quality that pulls us in. The Notebook, for instance, is a film depicting the charm and eventual heartbreak that comes with the first love. The events in Alvin and the Chipmunks might not seem like your everyday relatable occurrence, but the film actually depicts strong familial bonds and shows its viewers that families can come in all shapes and sizes, even rodent size. Representation and relatability are the paramount quality to creating meaningful pieces of media. So it's a bit odd when a crucial aspect of media fails to appeal to an entire group of people. That lack of representation and relatability can be a bit discouraging. It can cause a disconnect between the media and the person consuming it, a rift that tells that person that their experiences don't exist, don't matter, or don't deserve to be depicted. Black women are oftentimes victims to that lack of representation, especially in terms of media in the romance genre. For years, Black women have been neglected and deemed unfit as potential love interests in media created by those outside of their community. In today's social climate, many are more outspoken about the absence of Black women in romantic roles in television and film. This has led to an increase in rep for Black women on screen. However, not all representation is good representation. This new age in which Black women are finally able to grace viewers' screens and have their own experiences depicted has its own set of problems, namely the disposable Black girlfriend trope. This trope, coined by journalist Yomi Adegoke in 2019, describes a pattern in media in which Black female characters are set up as love interests only to be discarded after helping the main character grow in some way. This help inevitably leading the main character to leave the Black woman for their true love, which is usually a white woman. This trope reflects the intersectional discrimination of Black women as it perpetuates white supremacy, as well as the humiliation, dehumanization, sexualization, and harm that is constantly done unto Black women, both on-screen and off. This trope continues to push deep-rooted notions that Black women are undesirable and incapable of loving, which has real-life effects on how Black women are seen and how they see themselves. To understand the significance of this trope and why the effects of it are so harmful, one must take a look at the historical context that led to its creation. Like many stereotypes that affect Black women and a society's perception of them, this trope and the historical roots of it can be traced back to slavery. Predating America's involvement in the slave trade, the writings of European travelers can be accredited to the racialized sexualization of enslaved Black men and women. As Europeans traveled the coasts of Africa, they were intrigued and scandalized by the tribal dances and semi-nude dressing of African people, deeming them lewd and lustful in comparison to Eurocentric standards. These writings, and others like it, labeled African women as debauched and immoral creatures, helping create what many know as the Jezebel stereotype. This portrayal of Black women as seductresses was often used as justification for the enslavement, rape, and forced reproduction of Black women. In his book, Notes on the State of Virginia, America's very own Thomas Jefferson depicts Black women as primitive, sexually deviant creatures whose depravity and sexual appetite know no bounds. This book, and many others like it, led to the increase of sexual violence against Black women both during and after eras of slavery. This stereotyping of Black women as promiscuous and highly sexual, alongside European beauty standards, continue to affect their societal perception and desirability. In our patriarchal society, gender roles are often perpetuated through dating culture. Men have long been told that a modest woman is an ideal woman because modesty brings control and stability. Although modesty can be desirable, that desire is short-lived. To be a woman worth marrying, a woman must be malleable, not promiscuous. To them, promiscuous women are for sex, not marriage. When these perpetuations of gender roles and stereotypes of Black women coalesce, they create a society that deems Black women undesirable and unfit for marriage. This is reflected in media, where Black female characters can date. They can be used for the sexual gratification of a character, but they are not seen as genuine love interests because in our society, Black women are not seen as desirable enough to have genuine long-term relationships. With the historical context in mind, I'll be touching on a few examples of the disposable Black girlfriend trope and how these depictions of Black women are especially harmful off-screen. Boy Meets World is one of the most notable shows depicting a Black woman in an interracial relationship, namely due to the normalcy of said pairing and the longevity of the relationship. Sean Hunter, a white man, and Angela Moore, a Black woman, are one of the first early depictions of an interracial relationship with a Black woman at the forefront. The show is seen as progressive and was adored by many, mainly Black women, for its portrayal of the couple. Seeing as though there wasn't much representation of black women in the 90s, which is when the show was airing, the series was controversial yet refreshing to many viewers. The couple was seen as relatable, charming, and realistic in their struggles as young adults. And although the finale of Boy Meets World marked the end of Sean and Angela's relationship, with Angela leaving for Europe to live with her father for a year, fans still highly regarded the show and the depictions of the couple, with many fans taking the ambiguity of their relationships in to mean a potential recoupling in the future. This hope was destroyed with the creation of a spin-off show called Girl Meets World, as it is revealed that Sean and Angela never got back together. Season 2, Episode 9 of Girl Meets World is titled Girl Meets Hurricane. In this episode, the main characters learn about Hurricane Katrina and the effects it had on the people of New Orleans. Maya, the semi-focal point of this episode, points out that the people affected by Hurricane Katrina prevailed because of their hope and optimism. This notion is repeated throughout the episode in various dehumanizing manners. Maya, who plays the main character's best friend, lives in a single-parent household with her mother, Kathy. In the few episodes prior to this one, Sean makes an appearance and builds a connection with Maya, becoming somewhat of a father figure for her. The idea of Sean becoming Maya's stepfather is one highly regarded by most of the characters, Maya included. Sean has somewhat of a connection to Kathy as well, so there's virtually no reason why he shouldn't become Maya's dad. That is, until Angela shows up. This surprise reunion puts fear into Maya and the other characters, as they worry that Angela is coming to get back together with Sean. The reappearance of Angela and potential recoupling of Shangela to Maya is described as her Hurricane Katrina. She's told to prevail and push through any hardships that come between her chance at having a family. The hardship in question being a black woman. Angela is quite literally dehumanized to the point that they're referring to her as a natural disaster. As it turns out, Angela is actually married and came to speak with Sean for old time's sake. Angela appears in this episode for 3 reasons. 1, as closure, to shut down any fans who may have been hoping for a potential recoupling of Angela and Sean. 2, as a plot device, an obstacle in between Sean and his ideal love interest. And lastly, to be the force that pushes him towards growth, with Angela literally telling Sean to choose who he's truly meant to be with, Kathy, who I probably don't need to mention is a white, blonde woman. Spoiler alert, Sean and Kathy end up getting married, and everyone has a happy ending. Except for all of the black women who were hurt by one of the most regaled media representations of a black woman finding love in an interracial relationship, redacting said representation for the sake of the underrepresented white love interest. In one episode, Girl Meets World uproots years of valued representation with its complete assassination of Angela's character, as well as her relationship with Sean, its villainization of said character and relationship, as well as its perpetuation of a trope that many fans thought this couple was safe from, the disposable black girlfriend trope. Watching the carelessness that the show writers had when throwing away a relationship spanning multiple seasons that was adored by so many for its unconventionality, in order to pair Sean up with a blonde white woman, is honestly disheartening and shows the lack of thought and care that is given when it comes to the representation of black women in film and television. Even when it's seemingly done right, it's almost like black women can never have something for good. There will always be a fear of disposal, uprooting, and humiliation. This pattern of rejecting, devaluating, and shaming black women does not stop at fictional media. The disposable black girlfriend trope finds itself in reality TV as well. Temptation Island is a Netflix drama in which each season follows a new crop of unmarried couples that test the limits of their relationship and their loyalty to their partners as they face obstacles of sexual temptation on a remote island. The show begins with each person in each couple picking a new person to potentially connect with on the new island. In this televised humiliation ritual, we find one of the original couples, Tyler and Taylor. When the time comes for the couples to split up and choose a new person to couple up with, Taylor comments that she knows what girl Tyler is going to go after. She points out one of the girls, her name is Kay, and says that Tyler's going to pick her. Both Taylor and Kay are petite, blonde, white women. Tyler is a blonde, white man. When Tyler steps up to choose the woman he'd like to couple up with, he chooses Courtney, who is a black woman. The subsequent reaction from everyone is very telling.
I think that he was going to pick.
Yellow dress. That is his type to a T. To be honest, I'm really proud of him.
The Islanders respond as if choosing a black woman in a romantic context was the most shockingly unbelievable thing anyone's ever done. Taylor even expresses pride for Tyler in his ability to push himself and find what he likes. Describing the notion of finding a black woman attractive as something to be proud of is highly disrespectful and speaks on how society views the desirability of black women as an exotic commodity, a joke, or something unfathomable. After using Courtney as a means to subvert expectations and prove Taylor wrong, Tyler ends up pursuing Kay, the blonde white woman that his blonde white girlfriend said he was going to choose in the first place. No consideration was taken of how Courtney would feel being used as a prop in Tyler's performative display of disobedience. She was simply utilized and discarded of without any consideration or thought to her feelings or how her self-worth might be affected afterwards. After the show premiered, Courtney spoke a bit about how dehumanizing that moment felt and how she was affected by Tyler's actions as well as the other Islanders' complacency.
In that moment in which Tyler chose me for the first date, the entire group of girls standing beside me gasped. But their gasp wasn't in a happy gasp, it was more in a disappointment gasp. And it threw me aback so freaking much, to the point that they cut this part out. Mark ends up asking the girls, like the single girls, why did you guys all just react like that? Would anybody like to say anything? And they all said, no. It bothered me because it's like, I don't know. I had so many thoughts going through my mind, obviously. I'm like, what made you just pick me? What's going on here? Like, I'm very confused. I've obviously dated, well, it's not obvious, but I've dated all backgrounds. I'm not one to only date black guys. However, it was the way it was done that made me very uncomfortable. And the reactions that were made amongst others that made me severely uncomfortable.
This is a real-world display of society's perception of black women and how those perceptions can have real-life negative effects on black women and how they see themselves. Black women are seen as sexual commodities, exotic fantasies, and romantic pit stops on the way to something more valuable. They are not seen as human, their experiences are not acknowledged, and their feelings are not considered. They're tossed thoughtless, harmful depictions of love under the guise of representation, causing themselves as well as everyone around them to see them as less desirable, and they're expected to show gratitude simply for the existence of that poor representation. The flippant, careless attitude that show writers have when disregarding and humiliating black women for the sake of uplifting white people causes a continuous cycle of mistreatment, shaming, and rejection of black women by society on screen and off. This poor representation causes black women to see themselves as less than and accept portrayals of black women that are deemed unlovable and undesirable. There is no point in representing black women when these depictions create disparity and self-hatred amongst them. The disposable black girlfriend trope carries a silent danger with it, one that pounces on the self-esteem of black women without the knowledge or care of society.